Okay, this is Bears coming at you. Want to do a little fight breakdown, some fight video analysis, and on the Vitaly Klitschko Lennox Lewis mega fight. Two greats meeting head to head, two super heavyweights, two of the baddest men in boxing history. In this fight, got the BoxRec stats pulled up here. Vitaly Klitschko threw double the punches, double the jabs, double the power punches in this fight. Here's the stats, and I just wanted you to get a good look at them. Get a sense of what you're going to see. That said, when we watch this fight, I want you to keep in mind a few things as you watch. As we're breaking this down. The motif in this is the holding and hitting from Lennox Lewis. Ref Moray, he does nothing about it at any point. The first holding and hitting happens at 15 seconds into the fight, and it goes on throughout the entire fight. Lennox is kind of known for holding behind the head and stuff and forcing a guy's head into an uppercut. This is illegal. I understand it's championship fighting. Guys are going to do whatever they have to win. It is illegal. I just wanted to know. And I wanted you to see how much it's done, or at least pay attention to it. Lennox is clinching, rubbing elbows in Vitaly's face. More, it does warn Lewis about the elbows. Vitaly's range mastery is really reflected in this fight. The guy masters the range. Lennox Lewis has to close the gap. At the beginning of the fight, they're trying to decide, they're trying to feel out each other's range and who's gonna master it, and it becomes Vitaly Klitschko who masters the range, and off that masters the CompuBox numbers. He begins to tee off on Lennox Lewis within the first round and second round. It's important to note how the cut happens in the third round. At the beginning of the third round, there's no softening up of Klitschko as Lewis hasn't landed much up to the cut. The cut is caused by a glancing straight right, not a power shot, not a bomb, not after many punches, softening up a tissue. This is not like a KO blow, a broken rib, a busted eardrum, or a broken nose. Those require blows with serious power, force, and precision. Throughout the bout, announcers are quoted as saying, Lewis is there for the taking. One more punch for Klitschko and Lewis is out of there. Vitaly would have won. The man deserves a rematch. Jim Lampley says, is it safe to say Lewis won the fight and Klitschko won the event? As the crowd boos Lennox Lewis and cheers Vitaly Klitschko. Larry Merchant asks Lennox about this in the ring and other things, and Lennox Lewis is kind of braggadocious about the cut, which I don't think you should be braggadocious about a cut. And then Lennox says he'll have one Klitschko for breakfast and one for lunch, and says he'll promise a rematch, or he promises a rematch to Vitaly Klitschko. And there is no second Klitschko or even a rematch, even though the man says and promises a rematch and says he'll have one for breakfast and one for lunch. So, that being said, please keep that in mind as we take a look at the fight and break it down. Two men enter. They both go to the center of the ring. They're feeling out each other's range. Like I said, feeling out range. And Lennox Lewis comes at Vitaly Klitschko. It doesn't land anything meaningful. Lewis is backed up, forced up to the ropes, clenching, holding, trying to hit. Morrow makes the first break. Second break. Feeling out range still. And we got more clenching. And Vitaly backing Lewis up. A clinch. We're still feeling each. They're still feeling each other out. Less than a minute into the fight, and we can see this range start to come into effect here, and with Vitaly pressing and just throwing bombs from outside. Lennox is not getting anything done from the range. Vitaly is establishing the mastery of the range. Some clinching and hitting, holding and hitting, a motif in this fight. You'll see some serious clinching and hitting and holding of Vitaly's head and punching, or holding Vitaly's body and punching in the body throughout this fight. Vitaly just letting his hands go from way outside, range just crazy. Just letting hands go. Lewis is landing nothing meaningful. Vitaly is just landing, going through the guard. just landing the more meaningful shots between the two. There's the elbow to the face. Moro's gonna warn Lennox Lewis about the elbows. Through the guard, left, right. Got left hook, straight right, left, right. Just teeing off. Okay, Vitaly Klitschko's beginning the teeing off here in the first round. So teeing off. Lennox shells up kinda. Lennox just trying to close the gap. Tries to put his guard up. Shots just keep landing from Vitaly Klitschko. Increasingly, Lennox Lewis is trying to close the gap. Vitaly ducks a huge right. The holding, the first round's over. Pretty much, Vitaly wins it, dominates it, with the mastery of the range, and landing the more meaningful blows, going through the guard, and it ends with Lennox Lewis trying to close the gap. Really, that it's resorting to some holding and some hitting in a pretty active first round, CompuBox wise, really active. Both famous legendary cutmen, Al Gavin and Joe Souza in the corners. Hall of Fame cutmen. Really good, really awesome. You'll notice throughout this fight that Joe Souza stops the bleeding. Here's the highlights. You'll see going through the guard, pounds him with the left right. Straight right goes right through the guard, hits him on the button. Straight right hits him on the button. Awesome replays there, showing the best punches of the round. In this round, we'll come out, meet in the center of the ring, and it's the range battle. It's the range battle. Look at this. Bing, bing. Vitaly Klitschko backing up. Bing, bing. Getting in. Lennox Lewis is just more and more realizing the gap has to be closed. Range is just not going to be his deal in this fight, as it increasingly looks better and better for Vitaly Klitschko. Holding on to the back of the head. Vitaly can't go anywhere. We got just blasted. Vitaly just blasted him. 1-2 combos. Just teeing off. Left hook. Left jab. Clinching. Way outside of it. You really gotta notice the range on Vitaly Klitschko. Just way out there. And this is really an epic fight, really a great fight. And if any fight ever, bam, there's the best fight of the match. Just blow, teed off on him, looked like a baseball pitcher throwing a pitch, mouthpiece hanging out. Lennox Lewis sent back, reeling, looking down at Vitaly Klitschko's waist to try to hold on, no longer looking at Vitaly's upper body. They say something, Lennox Lewis nods his head yeah and says yeah. He probably says, "You just jacked me up." Vitaly Klitschko just begins to just tee off. Look at this guy. Just look at this. Now these are two fresh heavies getting in first 2 rounds. Nobody's fatigued. Nobody's nothing. This dude's just getting dominated with fresh domination. Fatigue does begin to set into this fight. But these guys, fresh first 2 rounds. This is what's happening. You're seeing it right before your eyes. He's just going to get teed off on it. Will. He lands a left jab, kind of rare. Lewis lands that left jab a moment ago, and bam, straight right, wobbles. 1-2, just teeing off, bing, bing. Just bing. Vitaly Klitschko, bing. Left hooks, straight rights. This guy, Lewis, is all over the place. Oh, look at this, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Oh man, this is just unreal. The teeing off at this point is just unreal. Bam! Through the guard. Bing! Right. left, right, left, right. Stop the round, folks. Stop the round. All right. Manual Stewart's got to be thinking, now, son, you're getting smoked. You're getting smoked in that rock. Again, legendary cutmans in the corner. Joe Souza and Al Gavin. Look at the face. Look at the right side of Vitaly Klitschko's face. No softening, no swelling, no nothing. This cut's about to come right now, right at the beginning of the third round on a glancing blow. Look at these punches right here, highlights. But ding! Whoa, that was intense. Holding on with both hands, just holding on. Just grip Vitaly Klitschko. Bam! Just teed off, threw a punch. Here's another one. Bam! Another straight right. And then they lock up. Awesome punches. Just awesome. So here we go. The fight starts and bam, there's the cut. The cut just happened. No softening up, no nothing. There's the cut. You know, a fluke. You know, that's why we call it a fluke. It's just a fluke. You know, no precision, no nothing. You'll see Vitaly's face now, and it's bleeding once he turns around. You'll see. So there it is. You can see the blood on the left side of Vitaly's face. So now, you know, of course we acknowledge Lennox Lewis is a great. You know, we established that in the other videos coming out of the 90s. If this guy's worth the assault, he's going to be able to target this cut. That's what he does. But in the process, he never gets up on points. He never does nothing. Throughout how bad this cut is, Vitaly Klitschko actually increases his lead in this fight. So, you know, it is what it is. It's a fluke thing, and you can just sit here and watch Vitaly Klitschko all day. So, you know, it is what it is. I wanted to break it down a little bit because me personally, I agree with Angelo Dundee, George Foreman, all kinds of people. Like, I think Lennox Lewis would have taken. I think Lennox Lewis would have taken a beating at the hands of Vitaly Klitschko because I don't think the cut would come into play. You know, I don't think he could save him all these times, and I think cuts are flukes. So I just don't see it happening. I see Vitaly Klitschko beating this guy in rematches, and I, you know, it's too bad that you know, Lennox Lewis couldn't have the same courtesy that he promised. He said he'd have him for breakfast and lunch. You know, McCall and Rockman give him a rematch. You know, and you want to boast how he avenged it. Well, you know, Vitaly can only rematch a guy who makes himself available, and with all that Lennox Lewis did, I mean, it pays a big compliment to Vitaly Klitschko that Lennox Lewis just totally bitched out. So there's a little breakdown. There's part of the explanation how we see how I gotta favor Vitaly Klitschko over Lennox Lewis, despite Lennox Lewis getting the cut win. It doesn't speak volumes. Cuts don't speak volumes about fighters. What speaks volumes about fighters is saying you can have one for breakfast, for lunch, promise a rematch, and not come through. I mean, that's what speaks volumes to me. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think.